Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. May I once again remind you to please enter the hall and please take your seats. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please take your seats now? Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, could I ask you to please rise to welcome our guest of honor, Yang Amat Berhormat, Dato Menteri Besar Selangor, Dato Sri Amiruddin Syari. morning, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato' Menteri Besar Selangor, Dato' Sri Amiruddin Syari, Yang Berhormat Tuan Izam Hashim, Member of the Selangor State Executive Council, Yang Bahagia Dato' Mahmad Abbas, Group Chief Executive Officer of PKNS, Yang Bahagia Dato' Sri Rizal Merikan Naina Merikan, Chairman of Matrade, Yang Bahagia Dato' Sri Haji Abdul Aziz Shah, Special Envoy, Group Corporate Advisor, Al-Bukhari Foundation. Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Dato, Datin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of PKNS, the Selangor State Development Corporation, it is my pleasure to welcome you to celebrating 60 years of PKNS, and the future is ours. Today, we celebrate the 60th anniversary of PKNS. Since its establishment in 1964, PKNS has been leading the way in driving socio-economic progress in Selangor, and in doing so, contributed to the state becoming the most advanced in Malaysia. But more than just a celebration of PKNS's 60th birthday, today's event marks the unveiling of an exciting new direction for PKNS. And now, may I direct your attention to the large screen to understand what today is all about.
We started in the era of a new Malaysia. An era of new hope. A young country ready to make its mark in the world. We built affordable houses. We developed townships. We industrialized barren land. As we built all these, we built lives around them. PKNS grew the community, helping Selangor achieve a staggering 25% of the national GDP. Today, we stand up once again. We know who we are, our strengths, our potential.
Bila PKNS build up new township, the area tu jadi live ke? Ada kehidupan kat situ. So macam PJ, Keramat, Bangi, Shah Alam. When we develop Shah Alam, harimau pun ada, gajah pun ada. It's a very thick jungle masa tu. Siapa nak buat? And that is the dream. This area will be a golden triangle. I really hope that everybody will be open to change, right? This is for the better, and nobody will be left behind.
I think that PKNS is one of the most stable development arm at Selangor. They have worth of 6 billion. It's about Perlis and Melaka capacity. So we are big.
10 years from now, I think we'll see PKNS becoming very bright, becoming very embracing artificial intelligence in most of its operations. A very efficient machine and producing products and providing services that are much better than most developers or most service providers.
We align ourselves to the future and we understand what Selangorians want.
Vibrant, support state punya socio-economic development. People can feel dia punya kehadiran dan the existence of PKNS. Mana you cakap anywhere lah. Kota dia boleh memenuhi mana-mana ruang pun. Kerajaan ni boleh tukar banyak ahli pun, tapi dia masih ada dan dia distribute.
PKNS can be the brand name, but when it comes to segmentation on the property, you need to identify now because your ability or your resilience or ability to improve your financial standing or to embark on various, it depends how innovative you are in packaging it. I think the core sector now is going to be three. One is property, energy and medical services. So these are the three we see as a core business of the PKNS group.
Looking into the establishment of PKNS itself, actually nothing can stop them from going beyond looking into real estate or the area they are now looking at. So I think they have to have a vision to be an entity that is commercially driven, but at the same time have the liberty to go outside Selangor, outside Malaysia, to excel in their area of focus.
This is the new PKNS, and together we are destiny for Selangor and Malaysia.
Well done, PKNS. It is now my pleasure to invite Yang Bahagia Dato Mahmud Abbas, the Group CEO of PKNS, to the stage to give the welcome address.
Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Amiruddin, Menteri Besar Selangor, Yang Bahagia, Yang Berhormat Datuk Izham Hashim, the member of the Selangor State Exco, Chairman of the Infrastructure Development, Agriculture and Plantation, Yang Bahagia Datuk Seri Rizal Marikan, my Chairman in Madrid, Yang Bahagia Datuk Seri Abdul Aziz Shah, partner in PKNS, the Selangor State Government officers, local councils and authorities, members of panelists. We've got a very distinguished panelist this morning, senior management members of the PKNS Group, distinguished guests, friends and media, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi, good morning, salam madani. Winston Churchill, rightly or wrongly, once said that to improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. And we have seen PKNS as we go along, changing all the time in the way that we do our products and delivering the services within the group. Over the years, over the 60 years that we've been around, kita dah seen better days. We have seen PKNS at a peak, same as the football, when we had Sochinan and Mukhtar Dahari working with us, and Selangor was the champion of the Football League. We've seen that. But aptly, the 60 years of celebration, the theme of Kembali Gemilang was actually coined up by our Datuk SS to bring back the glory or the status of PKNS as what was once before. We started in 1952, before Merdeka. The chairman then was Sir Gerald Templer. Some of you might have heard about Templer's Park. And later on, it became the Selangor Development Corporation from PJ, Petaling Jaya Development Corporation. The general manager, Sir Francis McWilliams, was the first one. And my friend, Dato' Richard Curtis, brought back a book that was written by him. We wanted to have his son join us this morning, but again, his son is more than 60 years old, so he couldn't take the long journey to Kuala Lumpur. In the current business of PKNS, being a conglomerate, not many people know that we are into many areas of businesses. We are in power. We are going to complete and commission the 1,200 megawatts in Pulau Indah by the end of this year. We have got waste to energy, 2 plants that we have, and also solar. By By the end of this year too, we will be commissioning our first hospital in the Rawang through our healthcare division. We've got our clinics, etc., etc. But at the core of this, when we first started, we are developers. And we were building low-cost units, low-cost housing. Although we have moved into many areas of businesses, our DNA of building affordable homes for the people will still remain. And therefore, our targets of having 10,000 homes, affordable, Rumah Selangor'S by 2030 is still there. We're on track on doing it. But the new era doesn't allow us just to build the affordable homes. The new era needs us to move into higher-end products in order to sustain our operations. Ladies and gentlemen, we spend more than 60 million a year in our CSR. And this requires a huge income to cover this cost and overheads, plus also allow for growth. And therefore, we have got certain privatization that was carried out, certain joint ventures, etc. But in moving forward, we need good partners. We need partners who are able to deliver the promised as what was in the agreement. And along the way, we have terminated some. But we hope that as we move, more good partners will come on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the economic data in 2023, irrespective of what the politicians paint a very gloomy picture, Malaysia grew by 3.6%. Economy size of 1.8 trillion. And along this growth, services sector leads it by 5%. The Selangor's contribution, or Selangor's growth, surpassed the national growth. Selangor's growth was more than 5.4%, with an economic cake of 450 million. And under the RS1 or the Rancangan Selangor Pertama, the Menteri Besar have said that he would like to contribute 500 billion to the economy, and to have these numbers moved up to more than 25% of the share that PKNS has in the national economy. The approved investments went up by 23% to 329 million in Selangor. And in quarter one alone, billion. And in Selangor, quarter one alone is 12 over billion, which is the biggest investment destination in the country. My chairman from Matrade and the chief executive of Matrade this year, Dato' Mustafa, the trade surplus was 200 billion with a total trade of more than 2.5 trillion ringgit. In May 2024, trade surplus continue with slightly lower of more than 10 billion. In addition to all these good numbers, tourism has increased by more than 10% over the past year. And I think many of you who are in KLIA will notice the number of people that is coming into Malaysia from China, from India, and this augurs well for our economy. Besides that, next year, Malaysia will assume the ASEAN chair. Therefore, the opportunity to leverage Selangor into the ASEAN market is tremendous. During the speech given by the Minister Tengku Zafrul in the Selangor International Business Conference recently, he mentioned 3 mega trends. Number one was this deglobalization. companies are moving out. Instead of being global, they are going the opposite way. And Selangor is in a position to take advantage of this because of the realignment of the global supply chain. Number two is the race to net zero. The national economic transition is leading up to the green investment strategy of the federal government and the National Economic Manufacturing Plan 2030, NIMP. The third mega trend that he mentioned was digital transformation. This is under the National Semiconductor Strategy, and Selangor has got a good opportunity to become a hub of semiconductor, and with the ASEAN market opening up. For us as a property developer, we looked at ability to develop great industrial park, racing towards green energy, zero carbon. Ladies and gentlemen, with backdrop to this, Selangor will have to move forward. PKNS will have to move forward together with Selangor. And therefore, we've developed a few projects that allows us to capitalize, or rather complement what the government, federal government, the Madani government, and the state government has planned. We are building a mega Shah Alam Central project here in the city center. It has got more than 140 acres with many buildings, including residential, commercial, institutions, banks, etc., etc. We hope that the Shah Alam Central project, where we are now, this is the first part of the Shah Alam Central project, the upgrading of the convention center. We will have the exhibition by the site, joining up to this. And we will have offices which will allow for the services sector, such as startups, venture capital, the banks, etc., etc. In this Shah Alam Central project, in the group itself, we are producing 500 megawatts of green energy, which will be used to partly power Shah Alam Central. So we will be one of the first in the world that will have green energy to power a new city. It is a rejuvenation project, rehabilitation. And besides Shah Alam Central that we have here, we have created another one in Section 13, which is the Wellness Center. We know that there is an increase in market for medical tourism. We are building a hospital there. We've tendered it. We are going to award soon. And as the people move or aged in the state of Selangor, we will have senior living and also design for assisted living accommodation. In that area, we will also have condominium, and therefore people who started to work can live in the condominium. As they get older, they move into the senior living apartments. When they fall a bit sick, they will then go into the assisted living. Bila sakit, masuk ke hospital. Bila mati, there is a mortuary downstairs. The only one yang tak ada, kubur je. But going forward for PKNS, there are many challenges. Number one, we created a lot of pipeline projects for the last few years, that what I mentioned above. But one of the greatest challenges personally that I face ialah rambut luruh, receding hairline. But we have got challenges in having to finance our CSR. Yesterday, I had a visit from TNB. Apartment yang kita buat 40 tahun yang lepas, 40 years ago, we haven't have the title moved out. to the buyers because of cost. Every time you want to change the title, you got MOT, etc. So the electricity meters are still under PKNS. And we have to pay for this. At the tip of my tongue is to cut the electricity so that these people pay. But at the end of the day, we have to look in line with the state punya well-being, the rakyat well-being. So we are still talking with them. And off and on, we have got so many people asking for donations here and there, using their titles, politicians, Tan Sris and Datuk, etc. And a lot of this, we had no alternative but to turn down. And therefore, along the way, we do create animosity, we do create dissatisfaction. And when we wanted, or rather the news spread that PKNS will demolish the complex PKNS, the news spread like wildfire in the social media, picked up by the press, and it was only a rumor. And therefore, when we decided that we will bring down Shah Alam Convention, Shah Alam Mall, I have many texts from the people. And what I had to say was, why keep something that doesn't make money? We couldn't get the yield of more than 6% in that building, and therefore we had to shut it down. And this is the way, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to conduct our business. By investments in the mega trends that the Minister and the Chief Minister of Selangor mentioned. And Selangor's growth, moving forward, will also be the growth for PKNS. And it will also be the growth for all of you. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, with that note, we are looking for partners, good joint ventures, so that all of us can grow together for a more prosperous state and country. Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A round of applause, please, for Yang Bahagia Dato' Mahmud Abbas, and thank you for your gracious welcoming remarks. And now, I am privileged to invite Yang Amat Berhormat Dato' Menteri Besar Selangor, Dato' Sri Amiruddin Shari, to the stage to give his keynote address.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi rasulillahi ajma'in. Thank you to the MC for the warm and pleasant introductions. Yang berhormat Tuan Engineer Izham Hashim, Member of Selangor Executive Council and Chairman of the Infrastructure Development, Agriculture and Plantation, Modern and Food Security, Agro-Based Industry, and the committee, also board members of PKNS, Yang berbahagia Datuk Mahmud bin Abbas, Group Chief Executive Officer PKNS, Yang berbahagia Datuk Sri Rizal Marikan, Chairman of Madrid, Yang berbahagia Datuk Sri Haji Abdul Aziz Shahar, Special Envoy, Group Corporate Advisor of Al-Bukhari Foundation, Selangor State Government Officer, Local Council and Authorities, members of panelists, senior management and member of PKNS Group, distinguished guests, media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and Salam Malaysia Madani. In 1964, some 60 years ago, when Petaling Jaya was mushrooming into the country's first satellite city and grabbed the attention of multinational companies looking to invest into Malaysia, Batu Tiga or Sungai Renggam, as it was then called, was mooted to be developed. Later known as Bandar Baru Shah Alam, PKNS humble beginnings after it transitioned from Perbadanan Kemajuan Petaling Jaya to Perbadanan Kemajuan Negeri Selangor has come a long way. Potential assets were identified, including the development of the commercial complex in Jalan Raja Laut, which is known today as Maju Junctions. In fact, opening of new district like Kota Damansara would not have been materialized had it not been for PKNS strategic role. As I stand before you this morning, I think we can all agree that through its colorful 60 years history, PKNS has indeed come a long way, and for that, all of you here today deserve a round of applause. Congratulations. While the leadership and management in place today can take pride in the work of PKNS has done, we cannot be complacent for 1 second. The challenge ahead for the state government of Selangor and PKNS is not only to plan what we intend to do in the coming 3 to 5 years, but in celebrating in 60th anniversary, this is the time for PKNS to chart the future and plan where it wants to be when it arrives at its 100th anniversary, that means 40 years from now. Some of you may wonder why the responsibility of what happens in 40 years should be of concern to you. I say this because PKNS is no ordinary company, but from its inception, PKNS, as the state's preeminent development arm, was born to fulfill a strategic purpose. The strategic purpose lies in striking the golden balance between development for investment and allowing room to fulfill its social responsibility, especially to the working and lower middle class population in Selangor. That is why I believe it was an opportune decision by the team of PKNS to choose the tagline, Kembali Gemilang, to celebrate this 60th anniversary. However, celebrating 6 decades shouldn't be solely about looking back and nostalgic about past success. This should also be a time to reflect on how we can learn from the past to build a better, more sustainable, more resilient future in line with the world we live in today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the core and heartbeat for the first Selangor plan undertaken by the state government of Selangor. It's not solely about development or development at all costs. All leaders in government, as leaders in the government, and others given responsibility in government linked agency, we have a greater responsibility than leaders in other fields like the corporate sector. That is why there is a greater importance for us to plan ahead and make strategic decisions to maintain and solidify Selangor's place as Malaysia's most advanced state and begin competing with Asia's top state. We aspire to build not only an economically advanced state, but a state which is also livable, sustainable, and prosperous. Alhamdulillah, Selangor's economic numbers show we are on the right track. With the GDP contribution expanding to 25.9%, equivalent to record-setting 406.1 billion ringgit economy, Selangor is the first ever state in Malaysia to achieve such a feat. But we must to rest or stop here. I have made it clear to all my team, our next target is finding the right balance and making the right strategic move to build an economic worth 500 billion in the next 3 to 4 years. It's not an easy task. We have to work together. We can't work in silos. Of course, there's a new exploration have to be done by every sector in the state governments. from the state government agencies, officers, include our JLCs. We should identify the new source of income. We should identify the new source of infrastructure. And of course, that we have solidified all our efforts. That's why the state government make an initiative in year 2022 to form what we call it Selangor Plan 1 or Rancangan Selangor Pertama. This is quite a bit different from Rancangan Malaysia. Normally, Rancangan Malaysia is focus on state or government projects, but this is the list and the collaboration and hybrid between state government project, federal government project, and private initiative. With the list of more than 262 projects, we have more or less 3-4 years to deliver to the public and Malaysia. And as I remind my team forever, and always I remind my team that we have to deliver. Not just to success in our record and data, to show to the public where they deliver something, but in the same time, we have a task and responsibility to make sure that the Malaysia economy still on the right tracks. As a major contributor to the national GDP, 25.5%, we passed the quarter from the economy, Malaysia economy, in year 2023. We have to retain the activity, we have to retain the possibilities and make sure that we are still in the good vibes to achieve the economic development and also to give the kesejahteraan and the welfare to the public and the community in Malaysia. Similar like to the PKNS, after the all success in the past 60 years, we have to draft and craft our maps to the next 100 years, or achieve to 100 years what we can achieve in 100 years. That is it, we can, that the government and the management of the PKNS, start from now, have to look beyond and move forward to make sure that the PKNS status as the best SDEC in the state, in the country, and we can start compare your performance with other GLCs in our neighborhood state or neighborhood country. This is a next challenge to Datuk Mahmud and the teams, and I hope that we take the challenge together, like that our initiative in the state of Selangor, we craft the Rancangan Selangor, we build the plan for semiconductor, for example, we plan for the new township, we plan for the third port, we plan for Idris, we plan for Sabda, and we try to unlock and also rejuvenate. This is another thing that I think PKNS have to lead. As I mentioned in the last retreat, that the PKNS have to lead the initiative to rejuvenate or regeneration some of the city, some of the township, and the housing which built by PKNS in the early 70s and early 1980s. A lot of things that we have to done together. Of course, the state government and federal government will work and try to support as much as we can. And I believe with this team that we can make a success again, comeback Israel. I think that we can deliver, and I can see you the next to celebrate the 100 years of PKNS future. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Happy anniversary to PKNS.
Young Ahmad Berhormat, may I ask that you please remain on stage for a short while. Everybody, please give a warm round of applause for young Ahmad Berhormat, Dato' Menteri Besar Selangor, Dato' Sri Amiruddin Syari. And may I ask, please, Dato' Mahmud Abbas to please come up on stage so we can give a token of appreciation. Thank you very much. Pose for the cameras, please, gentlemen. Smile for the cameras. Thank you. A few more. Thank you very much. distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us to celebrate 60 years of PKNS and the launch of its visionary new direction. We are now coming to an exciting part of this event, the PKNS Forum. Here is a short prelude to what the forum is about. Please watch the screen. Gentlemen, can we play the video, please? Future-proofing Selangor's Real Estate Opportunities Forum is a specially created PKNS Forum. We invite industry captains, key opinion leaders, and key decision makers from the public and private sectors to discuss how PKNS can play a leading role in addressing the challenges, solutions, and best practices for the Selangor real estate sector. We have an impressive lineup today, and I have great honor in calling them upstage and reading out their very impressive portfolios. Let me begin with Yang Bahagia Dato' Teng Chang Kim. Can we please all thank once again the Menteri Besar? Dato' Teng Chang Kim, during his time as senior member of the Selangor State Executive Council, Dato' Teng was responsible for driving investments in Selangor, which rose from 9.8 billion ringgit in 2013 to more than 55 billion ringgit in 2023. He also spearheaded the development of industrial parks in Selangor, including Green Industrial Parks, or GRIPs, which offer industries a conducive and sustainable environment to set up their businesses. Dato' Teng also initiated digital transformation and adoption in the government sector and SMEs. Yang Bahagia Dato' Richard Alexander John Curtis. Born in Penang and brought up in Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Dato' Richard Curtis is the advisor to the Shah Alam Central Project, where he draws on his vast experience in the construction and real estate business. He was the Group Managing Director of Chaya Mata Sarawak, a leading conglomerate in Sarawak in the construction, infrastructure, township, and property development sectors. Dato' Richard is also the Chairman of Berjaya Infrastructure and Deputy Chairman of 7-Eleven Malaysia Holdings. Yang Bahagia Dato' Sri Azmir Merican. Dato' Sri Azmir Merican is the Group Managing Director of Sime Darby Property, one of the largest property companies in Malaysia. He has 30 years of experience in investments, private equity, corporate advisory, and operational management roles. Prior to joining Sime Darby Property, Dato Sri Azmir was a managing director, UEM Magenta, which he helped transform into an award-winning regional market leader in asset management and infrastructure solutions. He was also the recipient of Outstanding Property CEO Award at the Edge Malaysia Property Excellence Awards 2023. And we have Datuk Lim Kiew Hock. Dr. Lim Kiew Hock is the founder, advisor and director of Horizon L&L, an award-winning property developer focused on first-time homeowners, students and digital nomads. He has more than 42 years of experience in the property sector and has also held senior positions in Marsing Group, Berjaya Land, MK Land, Zealand Development and Matrix Concepts Holdings. Among the key projects he helmed in his illustrious career are Tropicana Golf and Country Resort, Bukit Jalil Golf Resort, Hampshire Residence at KLCC, and Icon Residence in Mont Kiara. Next we have Dr. Mohammed Afsan Nizam Abdul Rashid. Dr. Afsan Nizam is a chief economist of Bank Muammar Malaysia, where he provides strategic macroeconomic advice on fiscal and monetary policy. Armed with 2 decades of experience in investment research, economics, and capital research, he has worked in key roles at the Employees Provident Fund, the EPF, Bank Islam Malaysia, and Retirement Fund Incorporated, KWAP. He is an adjunct professor at University Technology Mara, the UITM, and an advisor to the Special Select Committee on Finance and Economy at the Parliament of Malaysia. And last but not least, our moderator for the discussion, Yang Bahagia Dato Beatrice Nirmala. Dato Beatrice is the CEO of the IBR Asia Group, a branding and communications agency that has created branding and promotional campaigns for over 1,000 Malaysian and international companies, government offices and agencies since its inception in 1997. A much in-demand speaker, moderator, panelist and coach on topics such as entrepreneurship, transformational conflicts and talent development. Dato Beatrice is also the author of the book Through the Looking Glass, and she's the newly appointed honorary consul of the Republic of Nicaragua to Malaysia. And now it is my pleasure to pass over to Dato Beatrice Nirmala to kick off the Future-Proofing Selangor's Real Estate Opportunities Forum.
Thank you, Mickey. I'll take over from here. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you to my panelists. To everyone here, to my esteemed guests downstage, and to our esteemed panelists upstage, welcome to Future-Proofing Selangor's Real Estate Opportunities, a specially curated forum by PKNS. Let us start, without much further ado, with Datuk Teng. During your nearly 10-year stint in the Selangor State Exco, Dato', you were responsible for leading investment and industrial developments in Selangor. Now, PKNS too has been leading developments in commercial and industrial real estate in Selangor, such as the Selangor Cyber Valley, and now as a Central and Green Industrial Park in Kota Puteri. How do you think that PKNS has and will continue to contribute to Selangor's position as a prime investment destination?
Thank you, Dato' Beatrice, my fellow panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. It is undeniable fact that PKNS, as a statutory body established by the Selangor Legislative Assembly 60 years ago, and in charge of the development of Selangor in terms of the physical and the social aspect, PKNS has actually played a pivotal role in shaping Selangor as a modern and developed state. Mm-hmm. And over the years, we can see under these developments, initially taken by PKNS and later joined by the players in the private sector, we have built a cosmopolitan comprising of Kuala Lumpur, PJ, Subang Jaya, Shah Alam and Klang over the past 60 years. And this is a huge cosmopolitan.
Of course.
Visually, no one can actually tell where are their boundaries. You travel from Kuala Lumpur to Klang, you don't know where are the boundaries of these cities.
Yeah.
Such a huge cosmopolitan actually is very attractive to the investors because we have all the facilities, amenities.
Yeah.
And all this image has brought about by PKNS and all the players. And it is extremely important because to the investor, especially those who come to ASEAN for the first time, just make the comparison and find that this is extremely attractive to them. A place that it is so conducive for business and it's very comfortable for living. So this is what we've seen. A huge cosmopolitan, combining all these 5 cities intertwined by numerous highways.
Yes.
And I believe this is the only state, not only in this region, not only in Malaysia, but in this region, that its residents oppose or object to the proposal of building new highways. This is the only state that I've seen. And these are the things that brought about by PKNS. And of course, PKNS cannot rest on the past laurel. These are all past history. So for future moving forward, PKNS should look into how to transform itself as an organization which is vibrant and agile, adopting corporate spirit and culture. And only then PKNS had a hope to move forward and bring Selangor and make sure Selangor maintain as a prime investment destination. To do this, we need a process of soul searching. If you're looking back, if you are looking at the past laurel, you may have developed a lot of township, a lot of housing estate, business center, and so on. But in future, for future-proofing, then for that, PKNS has to look into a new frontier. Have to bold enough and to enter new frontier, including looking at new business of managing CLQs, for example, for managing regional exhibition center, conventional center, providing, becoming the industrial park service provider to ensure that it always remains at the top. And without having that mindset, then we will have problem of getting Selangor to another level.
You mean internationalizing the mindset?
Yes, the mindset. We need a new paradigm. A new paradigm, and these are the things that I think these are the key issues. Do we have, or does PKNS have the new mindset, a new paradigm to ensure that PKNS will always excel in the next 60 years?
Yeah. How do you envision the next 60 years?
It's challenging. We're looking at the development, the advent of the IT, AI, and so on. If PKNS keep the old culture, the old spirit, without a renewed spirit, then it perhaps will become another bureaucracies.
Correct.
And it's sad if PKNS become a bureaucracies. Because PKNS is supposed to compete with the developer, the big giant like Samdabi. So we can look at in the past 60 years, a lot of the developers were actually PKNS contractor. Now they have become giant. Sunway is one of the example. They are now very much bigger than PKNS. Whereas 60 years ago, I believe we haven't got Sunway before. We don't have the Setia, SP Setia. They were all contractors of PKNS, but they are now bigger, much bigger than PKNS. This is something for PKNS to look into, to review, and as I said, to have a new or renewed spirit and culture in PKNS itself.
It's a challenge we'll overcome. Thank you. Thank you, Dato' Teng. And Dato' Sri Azmir, your turn. Now, Sime Darby is a benchmark to many property developers owing to your organization's excellent track record in property development. This is reflected in your successful delivery of townships such as Ara Damansara and USJ. Now, I want to ask you, Dato' Sri, what do you think are the possible avenues for cooperation between Sime Darby Property and PKNS, which will further enhance living spaces in Selangor?
Thank you, Dato' Beatrice. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody here. Just to lead up to your question and what Datuk Teng said, I think, listening to Datuk Mahmud talk about 60 years and the plan forwards, I think one of the key important things before I answer the question is that to have a really good plan, and that plan needs to be clear. Everybody needs to input into the plan. The plan must be good, and once you have a plan, you are clear what the company needs to do, right? So execution is as good as having clarity. Once you have clarity, you can execute very well. So I think, just to add to what Datuk Teng said. Now, for avenues and what we can do together, I think PKNS has done very well in terms of cooperation, again, working with contractors, working with JV partners. I think way forward is to look at execution, to leverage on how you can execute and execute very well.
You mean like a roadmap?
To choose, roadmap is very important. You need to be very clear what you want to do. At the end of the day, you also need to know what you want to achieve in terms of, what is your financial parameters? You want to do a JV, but still you need to make equal or enough money. And you need to know how to maximize it and what will be those kind of challenges. So the JVs, we can do a lot of JVs, but we want to know that, both makes money equally well, right? So to have JVs that we earn money in a very balanced fashion. I'm not saying that they have done that, but I think it's good to pave the way moving forward. One market that I see it's something to be addressed. We do affordable, we do SAM units, but there's these units that we see between 300 to 500,000 is a very addressable market, and I think it's a market that I'm keen to talk to PKNS. How do we address this gap? So we could help PKNS build a brand there. The other one, and I'm looking at Selangor in general. If you look at Selangor, you project the next 50 years. One thing I see is the value of land is going to increase tremendously, right? This is the economic engine of the country. When the value of land increases tremendously, you have a dilemma. How fast do you develop? And one of the things that we are trying to do in SIME Property is that we are keeping some of this land and making sure we have land for a long time. That means we want to build recurring income business. I'm not going to, you cannot manufacture land, right? In 50 years' time, all the land that you have, you've developed, what is going to be the PKNS in 50 years? So I think this is a problem that developers face, and we need to understand how do we overcome. So I think having a clear recurring income strategy, how do we look at land and how do we maximize and have a return that will last a long time? At the same time, this visibility of earnings is very good for corporation because it allows us to raise a lot of money, right? So I think that's, so some of the areas includes CLQ, I think PBSA or student housing, purpose-built student housing is an area, there's a shortage. So this is a big opportunity for PKNS. There are catalytic assets in townships, the new plan for city centre. You need to have city centres, but city centres needs to have a vibrant ecosystem. That means you need to attract people. So, catalytic assets, whether it's healthcare, education, that needs to be thought through. And I think over and above all these areas, the things that we could look at for industry. For example, in development, it involves construction. One area that we want to look at is how do we build leadership with health and safety? Health and safety. Because construction is a dangerous industry. So we need to look at possibly, PKNS is a leader in Selangor, no doubt. So we should lead in terms of health and safety. I think a company that is good in terms of health and safety is a disciplined organization. We keep people safe. And I think that will position PKNS in a very good state.
Yeah.
Stop there.
No, thank you. Thank you, Dato Sri. And I'll move on to Dato Lim. Horizon LNL is also an award-winning developer. You are renowned for building functional homes for transit and first-time owners, students and digital nomads. Now, what advice can you give property developers to ensure that their townships have the amenities and facilities that will attract developers such as your company to start projects there?
Hello, good morning, audience. We have developed some starter homes in Sepang, in Bandar Sansuria, and we take pride in sharing our knowledge here. Personally, I think this is a very new type of development because traditionally we always want to build homes, 3 bedrooms, so that family can own homes. But now we are going into differentiating into different type of homes, where starter homes are mainly for singles or very, very small family. And first of all, I think the state also have already got a policy that to build SOHO and service apartments, you have to be in certain locations which qualify for you to develop such. I think in all, you want to make sure there is a real demand, and then so such locations very often are near to, say, LRT stations or MRT stations or universities, or even part of the shopping mall, or part of the town city, CBD, Central Business District, or it could be part of their local plan, you know. So where there is such a demand. So to qualify to do this, you have to be at the right locations. But I think to quote example, for example, like Shah Alam Central, or even say Kotara Mansara, or some of the townships that have been developed by PKNS, we still do not see this kind of small starter homes being built, because simply, I think traditionally, we do not think that such houses or such homes are needed. But now a lot of people are singles, and there are also a lot of expatriates. There are also a lot of digital nomads. There are a lot of students. They need a small home, small room only, but complete with all the toilet and maybe pantry facilities. And a small home like this are now also in demand, and we take pride that we have built one in Bandar Sansuria near to Airport Sepang, and we feel that such a product is actually very attractive to the low-income group or to the people who wish to invest this, because there is a market for people who would like to rent, you know. So
it's like a new trend, is it, Dato' Lim?
It's a new trend. It's also a form of like a youth housing, you know. To the state, they look at it as a youth housing. It's before you have a big family grow bigger, probably you can't afford to buy a bigger home yet, but you would like to buy a small one, and then that place has to be probably conducive to your maybe to place of work and all that. So to me, I think a lot of the townships currently being developed by PKNS, or some of the old townships that have been already built, have such potential of attracting such segment of people to stay here. So in order to do this, we have to create a lot of environment suitable for such living, because it's more a bit of a very urban city living.
What kind of environment?
So, for example, I would like to quote say safe corridors, and you know, which are bright with CCTV. You know, we have good say connectivity to the public transport. Say when you you know when you drop on your train, you would like to walk to your apartment. There is a proper place for you to walk all the way.
Everything is very near.
Yes, yes. So I think one of the things that we would like to encourage is for more people to walk. You know, use public transport. And so the walkways are very important.
Yes.
Yeah. You need to have, for example, barriers
protected from
between
the
road and the pedestrian walkway, so that people are safe. You know, you don't get snatched thief and all that. Things like, you know, of course, the township itself must have the necessary, they say, commercial component like cafes, shopping mall.
And everything within walking distance.
Yes. So it's a kind of a city living, and it attract the local, also at the same time attract foreigners, and we want to make it very affordable. So we don't want to make it so expensive that people can't afford. So a portion of your salary will go towards this rental, and sometimes you would like to rent, sometimes you would like to own. It's your choice. But it's very affordable for them to invest also at the same time. When you earn about, say, 5,000 salary a month, you can actually buy one already.
Yeah.
And later, when your family get bigger, then you migrate into bigger homes.
It's like a starter home, a starter
home,
community.
correct? Yeah. But imagine people like digital nomads, all these students. They would like to have a proper home, and not just renting a room from a family. You have no privacy.
Yes, right. So you think this is something that PKNS could capitalize in this new growing
we must
demand?
make the environment. The environment is very important and conducive. For example, like the public parks. If we can, we try to maintain it well, increase more facilities in the park. So it's means lifestyle for people besides work. So that's my view.
Thank you. That's a great view. And now I'm going to move on to, as the only economist here, Dr. Afzal Nizam. Oh wait, let me take that back. I think we are all economists in our own way. We all, checking out market and analyzing trends, but he's the professional economist. So as the only professional economist here, Dr. Af, can I call you Dr. Afzal? Yeah, sure. Okay. You have to take the next question. Okay, so this is the next question. The Malaysian government is currently implementing a fiscal consolidation exercise which involves raising the service tax rate and rationalizing fuel subsidies amongst others. How can developers mitigate in your opinion, as an economist, how can developers mitigate the inflationary effects of such actions, particularly with regards to transportation and raw material costs?
Thank you, Dato. Assalamualaikum. Very good.
Hard question, yeah?
Yeah. I just thought that this question should be posted to fellow developers here. But okay, try to give it a try to these questions. I think the quick wins perhaps to raise prices, right? But I think that's it's not an easy feat, obviously, given the current economic conditions. But of course, beyond that is to look at your efficiency and whatnot. But I think those are the micro issues. But I think if you look at the big picture, I mean, if you talk about inflation as the main issue, as the main problems, then therefore I think we need to take a few step backs and look at how things are actually evolving. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we have these issues on inflation in 2022, right? Because of the sudden surge in demand, because of the COVID-19 ended, things are being reopened, things get more lively than before, then naturally demand will kick in, right? And it resulted in an increase in inflation, especially demand-driven inflation, which, necessitates the central bank to take action, which, among other things, is to increase the OPR. So they have raised it from 1.75% to 3% last year, and true enough, the inflation rates coming down from 3.3% in 2022 to 2.5% last year. So, in that sense, issues on inflation is very seasonal, and there will be reactions from the central bank, which is to raise interest rates. Going forward, what will be the potential policy response by the central bank? Now people are talking about potential interest rate cuts because, yes, inflation has come down, and there are signs that stress in the economy, especially in developed countries, in Europe, in US, and now people are expecting aggressive rate cuts in the US. So on that note, things move in cycle. So as a developer, perhaps, but being cognizant of all these signals and take a proper response to this situation, then I think it can help your business strategy to be more agile. because things are not static.
Correct, correct.
Right, inflation was high in the
There
past
has
2
to
years.
be some consistency we can
Right.
bring. So
that's one.
yeah.
The second one is perhaps to understand your market, to understand your demand. Yeah, I think everyone here can all agree that people are having difficulties with respect to cost of living. But I like to think that there are also sectors in the economy are doing well, especially those who are, I would say, economists would like to see, among other things, to see social upward mobility. It means a better standard of living to all of us. But in my observations, Bumiputra especially, if you look at the data from Amanah Saham Bumiputra, because every year they will issue out their annual reports and they give the breakdown of their investors. I noticed that those who have a savings of 500,000 and above, last year it was like 31,000 Bumis in that category, with an average savings of 836,000. And if you look at the numbers, same numbers in 2016, those numbers was just quite close to 20,000 people in this category. It means
it's going.
Bumiputra, who has 500,000 and more in the ASB, is growing. And if you look at the CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, that's about 6.5%. So on that note, it seems that there are quarters, even among Bumis are doing well, and perhaps these could be the target markets.
Yeah.
And perhaps they would like to buy, properties for their offspring, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So understanding your market, despite all these economic challenges, I think they would have we have a better clarity as a developer and to target your markets.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. A. Would any of the developers here want to have a take at this question? Any contributions before I move on to the next question?
Sorry,
about this, how developers could mitigate the inflationary effects.
I think the best way to mitigate inflation is to buy property. Because if you ask the economists, Afzal will tell you, property is the best hedge or a way for you to beat inflation. Am I right or not?
But what if you can't sell it and you're stuck? Would that happen? You have overhang,
As explained, property moves in cycle, right? And if you buy from a good developer in a good location like Selangor, you buy correctly, then I think, you beat inflation. There's always upgraders and there's always people wanting starter homes.
Yeah.
That's an evolution that will happen. I think it keeps on happening because we have household formations. As a property developer, we look at household formations. Household formation gives us a prediction how many people are going to buy starter homes, how many upgraders are we going to have, and how do we project the amount of development we carry out.
Excellent. So the key to it is to buy from the right developer. And I think starter homes, from a layman's perspective, is a brilliant idea. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the exciting new future for Shah Alam with SA Central. The SA Central project by PKNS aims to rejuvenate Shah Alam by transforming it into a vibrant hub that encompasses residential development, commercial spaces, cultural heritage, and sustainability. So, Dr. Richard, as the advisor to the SA Central project, what do you see as its unique selling points that will make SA Central an attractive prospect for investors?
Thank you, Dr. Beatrice, and good morning to everyone. Well, I've been thinking about this development. You are in an area that needs something different. And PKNS is one of the few developers who probably can do it. And the reason is you are not just a property developer. You are a community developer. You have a duty to focus not just on the customers like a shopping mall or a developer or a property developer. You need to focus very much on the needs of your community. So I see this SA Central as, you should describe it as this USP probably as an integrated community and lifestyle hub. So that means you incorporate the typical things you expect in a neighborhood mall that reflects the needs of your area, your customers, your convention attendees, and all those people. But above all, you put in another section which focuses on your community. This adds to your CSR role. Now let me take some examples. you need to find out what the community needs and what it doesn't know it needs, but it will be needing. You're talking about aging societies, you're talking about mental health, you're talking about kids needing tuition. You need to work out what is needed. And I've recently been up and down to Singapore, and I've noticed what Singapore has done. I'm sorry to mention our neighbours sometimes, but anyway, this makes sense. They've built community hubs which have retail and a complete destination for people of all ages, needs and whatever to go to. They've got the shops nearby, they've got the supermarket, the wet market, but what they've got are things that we need. You need a tuition centres for kids. You need a place for aged daycare. You need somewhere for special needs children to be coached or to spend the day. You need all those particular things. You need maker spaces. You need a place for SMEs to start. Put all that in and you will bring your people there every day. And guess what? Your supermarket's full and people feel they're part of a community. And you must all remember, and you've all been talking, alluding to this, traditional communities are breaking down now. We need to build new hubs, centres where communities can gather. For instance, I was at the Pongo Community Centre. There was this great big screen playing the Euro football. Everyone's sitting there watching the football. They're going to buy in the mama store. Probably the children are sitting in the community library there. Let's build that section that will feed in and attract people. On top of that, and this has been brought to my attention, we should also be looking at an area within this community, not just for these, what you may call pedestrian needs, but let's put in an area for performances. Not just a badminton hall, but put in something for culture, where communities can come, schools can come. Make it a completely dynamic hub, and you will make that profit, and you will also deliver your CSR needs that you need. I'll give you one final point, which I haven't brought up to my team as an advisor. I went to this place. They've taken the whole top floor for a new type of anchor tenant, 20 tuition and enrichment centres. They all were on a cheap rent, but they could be monitored. They had a playground outside, proper toilets, community showers. And I'm a parent. I'm sick and tired of taking my child to 25 different destinations. Here is a one-stop place for every sort of daycare tuition centre. Give the right rents. Just think of those tuition centres you've all sent your children to on the first or second floor of some grimy shop house. You can't park your car. Guess what? You start taking them all to the tuition centres here. You give them a good rent. Guess what? You do your shopping in the supermarket. You eat there. You can enrich and combine your lifestyle needs and your community needs. Just remember, I think this is an USP we need to discuss. So I hope I haven't overstepped my mark. Thank you.
So that means, let me get, if you're building community centers, you're building loyalty too.
Yeah.
You're buying into the property, they're buying into the loyalty because you have the ecosystem.
That's right. We know about transport links and good parking, the right mix to retail, that we all know. But we can make this attractive because we have the unique thing of a park, we have a lake, we have a large amount of young people, and what we need to do is sit and think about the needs that we have not anticipated. We are moving into an aging society, moving into more AI. We've got problems in education. We have problems dealing with people with health issues. Let's anticipate those, meet them, and we become build an integrated community hub for everybody that has also got the lifestyle components that our younger, increasingly affluent Shah Alam residents will want. I think I've said quite enough.
That's
Thank you.
Brilliant. So Dr. Richard is talking about the intangibles of property development, where you build the feel for it. Thank you for that. So from SA Central, we move on to green industrial parks. That thing, as a Selangor State Exco, as a former Selangor State Exco member, you spearheaded the Green Industrial Park, or the GRIP initiatives in the state. Now, one upcoming GRIP is being developed by PKNS in Kota Puteri, Crown City. Now, could you tell us how PKNS can utilize this experience in real estate development to ensure that the GRIP in Kota Puteri, Crown City will provide a conducive environment for sustainable businesses?
Well, I must say that PKNS has been very innovative in branding green. Although they are not the first developers that features or prominently features their industrial park to be green with all the green elements. they are not first, but I think they have done a great job in the branding. Now, in fact, the state government has devised a comprehensive plan to ensure the sustainability of industrial park. The state government has actually devised guidelines to allow the industrial park to attain the status of MIP, Managed Industrial Park. So coupled with that, there is also a comprehensive incentive package offered to the developers who wants to go into Managed Industrial Park. I believe PKNS must have applied, and in fact, a few developers have applied for this MIP status and make them eligible for this incentive, which is very attractive. But the crucial point is not about developers building and delivering sustainable industrial park. You can build, green industrial park. You can build all good, or what we call smart industrial park, and deliver it. And that is the annual job, it seems. It is not the case. To me, when you talk about the green or the sustainable industrial park, it has to we have to look at the capability of the developers in managing the maintenance and security, managing the CLQ, managing the waste management, managing the centralized warehousing, providing business solutions, including financial solutions to the investors in the park. And that need a new mindset, a new paradigm again.
Yeah.
Our developers should not look at themselves as purely a developer, but an industrial park manager, and eventually becoming industrial park service provider.
Correct.
I think that should be the standard set for the developer. And I believe that PKNS has had a good start with GRIP. They should make full use of the vast experience they acquired during the past 60 years by providing all the services, comprehensive services to the investor in the GRIP itself or in the sustainable industrial park. Without looking at that aspect, then what we call sustainable industrial park is only stop at the stage of building and delivering. That would not make the whole thing sustainable. So I strongly believe that PKNS can make full use of the Kota Putri Crown City as the pilot project. And then I will say that will make PKNS excel and become the prominent. It will be a prominent industrial park service provider in this region, not only in Malaysia. PKNS should look into the region, the development of PKNS into the region, the ASEAN region, not to be Jago Kampung in Selangor, not only in Malaysia, but in the ASEAN region. Only then PKNS will have a bright future.
That's impressive, Dr. Teng. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think a huge part of entities like GRIP requires some marketing to bring in the right investors. So you're suggesting that the developers also play that role to be able to market to the right segment to come in and be a part. Because it's no longer selling houses, but selling to global investors to come in and take a space.
Yes, PKNS and others industrial park developers should not look at themselves as developer only, but as a service provider. We give you the facilities, not only physical facilities. We give you the factory, we give the plant, we give you the best maintenance, the security, but we also manage your waste. We also supply green energy and water to you. We also give you business solutions, and we also give you financial solutions. Probably to some startups, with a great project, PKNS can even invest in the project. You have land, you have the plant, offer that as your capital. Invest in the company. And then with the new, your new business model, exit wave, you may get IPO of the company, then you make a big chunk from that. Instead of becoming a developer. I think stopping at the stage of developer is the business of the past. It's an old business model. And we have examples to look at. In China, they've done a great job about this. Developer eventually become industrial park service provider. I think that should be our target.
So in an industrial park service provider, you do the A to Z. You
Yes.
provide all the facilities, and then the marketing becomes easy.
Yes,
The right-
that would be a seamless service provider.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That is something we will look up to, I think. Dr. Mahmood, big challenge. Okay, where are we now? So for more advice on property development matters, I'm going to circle back to you, Dato Lim. So prior to establishing Horizon L&L Sdn Bhd, Dato Lim has had more than 35 years of experience in senior positions in leading property developers such as Masing, Berjaya Land, and MK Land. So based on your experience and understanding of the real estate sector, Dato, what do you think are the key trends which PKNS should tap into in order to strengthen its contributions to the development of Selangor State? And as the members of the panel said, beyond.
Well, as a traditional developer, we look at a lot of townships that have already been developed by PKNS. Some of the old ones are already almost quite matured or fully matured. But there are also some which are still currently being developed. For example, like Cyber Valley, and Pulau Indah, even Bernam Jaya, or even some parts in Selangor and Shah Alam here. I think we, in terms of develop all these townships, we probably are still lacking in certain township. The one that we have, we can actually learn from some of the existing township that have already been successfully developed. For example, like say PJ North area, like Mutiara Damansara, Bandar Utama, Damansara Perdana, Taman Tun region, or Sunway, Subang Jaya region. All these are very successful townships, and they have got comprehensive facilities, where some of the township within PKNS do not have. So there's no need to really learn a lot from overseas, but we ourselves are already done a good job, and some of our township have even won international awards. So there are a lot of areas where we can learn from our own township. For example, we may want to develop, say, a mall. Then we observe the Surya KLCC and the park seem to have a lot of interacting factors where people like to go to Surya because there is a park next door. Example, I think. So which actually, for example, Shah Alam Central, if you want to make your mall more successful, maybe you can interact your park with your mall, and it could be something that you can think about. There are still a lot of things that we can actually learn from our own Malaysian experience. For example, like even say medical tourism. I think Sunway, Subang, they have done a good job. So they have developed hospitals and probably Shah Alam are also being developed now. But there are still a lot of things to learn how to make it successful and really work. So all the various factors.
You hit on a good point. So Shah Alam could be a medical tourism center.
Yeah, why not?
You're developing for medical tourism too.
I think I dare not say PKNS have not thought of it. PKNS have already thought of it, but this is an area I see they are already developing. I think it's a very good sign. You see, they are the areas where you are lacking. You are trying to complement and make it into a more comprehensive and matured township. So these are actually from existing township development that Selangor or PKNS have. But of course, going forward in the future, with more technology and more changes in the world, and then with more infrastructure being developed that connects Selangor to the rest of the country, for example, ECRL, maybe future HSR, or even the MRT and LRT3, all these will have a tremendous impact on Selangor's development, and probably PKNS also would like to tap into this opportunities and potential to further develop. Of course, as time go by, we will look at the new trend, and then we try to make it better and better development, So in all I'm trying to say is...
You're talking about the connectivity. We should
Yes,
our
connectivity.
Connectivity was the key to bring more and more people in. Right?
So there's a lot of things for Selangor to do actually. Not only the existing townships, but also future. You can plan new township with all the new things happening now. For example, like we talk about technology hub, Dato' Teng talk about a lot of green
industrial parks.
development, and with all the infrastructure interacting, So why do we build the ECRL, for example? You start from East Coast and then come all the way to Selangor. You're not building it for nothing. You want to do something where you import the raw material in Kuantan, and then you want to export a completed material or products through Port Klang.
That's right.
So you just imagine the amount of things you can do along the way.
So that means working closely with the state government to make sure that...
I'm not in this line, but I'm trying to say it actually create a lot of opportunities for development also. Because I'm a developer, so I look at it from a development point of view.
Yes, I totally agree. Thank you so much, Dr. Lim. We need the advice too, Dr. Sri Asmir. If you could impart one piece of advice to PKNS as they seek to transform themselves to better their offerings to the people of Selangor and contribute to the development of the Selangor state, what piece of advice would it be, Dr. Asmir? Dr. Sri Asmir?
I think it's always dangerous to advise without having the responsibility. I'm not qualified to advise, I think, but I can share from my experience. As I said just now, maybe, when, Selangor is going through a lot of development, and, for PKNS, I think under Dato' Muhammad Abbas and his team, I think we need to know what's PKNS 2.0 or 3.0. We need to know the plan and what needs to be developed, what are the priorities. These are the things that PKNS wants to do. So I think that's one of the most important things that PKNS can make clear, because PKNS has a lot of stakeholders. And then we can, once we understand, as I said, that's clear, because PKNS needs to work with a lot of people, right? So I think that's one I would share from my own experience. Number two, I think not to do too many things, because if you see a state like Selangor, there's so many opportunities and you can do so many things. But the challenge, I think, is to filter. Is to understand that our resources, our time, our expertise is all very limited. And if we want quality execution, we must be very careful not to take in too much that is difficult to execute. So, it's a challenging thing. I'm sure Dato' Mahmud is facing it, because there's so many things that, people like, YB Izam wants to do, Dato' Teng wants to do, that MB wants to do, then you give a good idea, But we must stick to the plan, and the plan needs to be strategic. What do we want to achieve? This is why we focus on A, B, and C, and we forget about D and E. I think that is one of the most important things, because it's about delivery. And then for the stuff that you don't want to execute yourself, get quality partners that has delivered, and work with the partners and then get the execution done in that way. That would be what I can share from my experience.
So it's sort of like consolidating the offerings. Is that what you're saying?
I think filtering, understanding what's the top priorities, and the lesser priorities is something that you need to figure out a different way to deliver.
Thank you, Dr. Sri. And now, to be able to take on huge development initiatives, we need financial stability from the government, we need a little bit of luck, and a lot of help and leeway from the banks. And that brings me to the next question to Dr. Afzal Nizam. Many are expecting the central banks of developed nations to cut interest rates in order to stimulate economic activity. Now, do you foresee Bank Negara Malaysia making similar moves to cut the overnight policy rate, the OPR, and how will it help spur the housing purchases and further reduce the number of overhang units?
Sure. I think globally speaking, interest rates has peaked, and certain jurisdictions we saw they have started to cut their rates. European Central Bank has started to cut their rates. Switzerland, Sweden, Bank of Canada, China. Only recently, Bank of Japan just started to raise their rates, but these are latecomers lah. But it has important implication to the financial markets. But I think the point that I'm trying to say is that rates are already peaked, have started to come down, and the major driver obviously coming from the US Federal Reserve. So people are looking at September meeting. At the moment, the markets are penciling in perhaps 50 basis point cut in terms of interest rates.
Okay.
So what it means to Malaysia, for now, I think Bank Negara would want to stick around at 3% because they are quite concerned about the impact from the subsidy rationalizations. But beyond that, I think it will follow the same direction. So perhaps may not be this year, perhaps next year in terms of cutting down their OPR. But the space to do that is there. It's just that they are waiting for the eventual outcome on the RON 95 subsidy rationalization because
the RON
95 the fuel prices.
Okay, the fuel price.
Because RON 95 I think account about more than 5% in terms of their consumer price index weighting, as opposed to diesel. Diesel, it has only very minute, about 0.2%. That's why the latest number on inflation just 2%. And the hike in diesel prices on the 10th of June does not really translate much.
So you're saying that the fuel prices are connected to the cutting down of the interest rates?
Yes, definitely. That's actually among the two key things that are being observed by the
How are they connected, Dr. A?
Usually when growth is high, inflation will go quite in a similar directions.
The growth of?
The growth of the prices.
Okay.
But from central bank point of view, they have certain tolerance level, which they need to control. So usually they will use interest rates to control those inflation. So what we saw in the past 2 years, the inflation was quite high, the economy was growing at a rapid pace, so they need to intervene. So now they are seeing signs that things are slowing down, just that for Malaysian case, because we have certain price control and subsidies, and these things are about to be changed, it has implication on inflation. So they are watching on that space before they can actually react. But generally speaking, I think rates have already peaked and it's on the way down. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, final question goes to Dato' Richard Curtis. So Dato', you're known for your transformational leadership of Cahaya Mata Sarawak into a major conglomerate in Sarawak during your 11 years as its group managing director, as well as being a strategic consultant on property development. Now, drawing on your experience, Dato', how do you think PKNS can fulfill its goals of transforming itself into a leading conglomerate in property development, energy, and healthcare sectors?
I think this is the worst question. I've been given the bummer of it all. I'm not in a position to really tell Dr. Mahmood and his team what to do. But I can tell you from my observations, they're doing a pretty good job. If it's not up to standard...
Can we give Dr. Mahmood and his team a big hand?
And they are working hard to be better than ever. However, being a man, as I'm told, I'm full of opinions, I will venture some. I'm not going to talk about what you need to do, leadership, teams, budgets, plans. You all know that. My big thought is that you really need to remember you're not just building products for customers, but you're providing products and services for a community. So you need to sit and think what your state needs and what the people need may not know that they need. So look out for those, anticipate them. And I find that by doing the right thing the right way, anticipating, you'll make even more money, which you can put back into your state and into the people. I think it's very important. My other pet subject is, you're doing this, you're setting yourself up with the proper vision, mission, values, which creates a sense of purpose for the staff. It creates a sense of energy and attracts a win-win situation all around. Just keep going at that. I've seen you at it, I've seen your team at it, and that's what will transform you. That's what we did at CMS. We created a sense of purpose, energy. Your purpose is not to build a home. You're building communities. You're building by the community, for the community. That's your job. And I think you've been doing it, and now you take it to the next level. It's more complicated, more challenging, but I know you can do it. When you need to find new ideas, don't invent the wheel. Look around. Everything is there, as Dato Lim said. He goes to look at everyone else's development. KLC had a lake, we got one too. Let's see what they did. Do it better. I've got great confidence in the future. Keep your 3 divisions. Don't be shy of being a conglomerate. I ran one. They're out of fashion. Don't believe it. They are needed, especially if you're government linked. Just do the job well by combining the best of government policies, plans, and the private sector. And you'll go, the next anniversary will be even more exciting and significant. Good luck, keep at it.
So these are my questions for all our panelists, but is there anything else, before I open up the floor for questions, is there anything else any one of you gentlemen would like to add on? Anything else? I have one question though. How do you make the Green Industrial Park the greenest of them all? How do we differentiate what we do with any other green industrial park in any part of the world? Can anyone think of anything? Something that distinguishes us as a unique developer?
Well, I think there's a standard. I don't think that we can do, the best industrial park, or the best green industrial park. That is not possible. But there's one advantage. Our climate allows us to plant a lot of trees. And perhaps the so-called green is actually green with many trees and with parks around. And Dato Mahmud loves cycling. Perhaps the lane for cycles. I think that is something that we can think of. That is, I think, the right thing. But one thing that just now Dato Mahmud mentioned a few times during his speech about CSR.
Yeah.
I would like to have some input in this CSR. CSR is not about giving away money to the poor, to the needy. That is not, to me, not CSR as far as corporate is concerned. Corporate should talk about and think about strategic CSR, not just CSR. For example, PKNS actually has contributed a lot of funds for football, Selangor football. And every year, I think they are now giving away 7 millions, 12 millions. And PKNS get nothing from that, except, the jersey, you have this PKNS printed on the jerseys. That's not good enough. To me, is that perhaps we can put into conditions. We can make use of any players to market our products. So we have so-and-so, the number 1 players from PKNS or from Selangor team, they are marketing for the PKNS product. That would be, you have the return. And that is, although you give away money, but you get some returns.
I agree.
And one example is what Nestle has done.
Yeah.
They have actually providing facilities for the farmers, to plant chili. Then they have a supply chili direct from the farmers instead from the middleman.
You get a return of investment.
Yes. So I think, especially when I was in PKNS for 10 years, I've seen that they spend so much on CSR, but get nothing from the CSR.
So it has to be more strategic.
Strategic CSR.
I agree.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any gentlemen? Then I'll open up to the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open. So we can take any questions from anyone addressed to the panelists on the topic. And if anyone has any questions, just raise your hand and someone with the mic will come to you. Just say your name, designation, company, ask your question, and the gentleman on stage will answer it for you. Do we have any questions?
I have.
Hi. Yes, sir.
My name is Abdul Rahim bin Abdul Rahman. I run a consultancy firm called Rahim & Co.
Okay.
One of the problems that the government is facing now, whether at federal or state level, is the provision of affordable housing. We have talked about this for years, but in my opinion, we have not been able to be, to a certain extent, successful, but not always. My question is, do you think PKNS is doing enough to contribute towards overcoming the long-term problem, not just in the Klang Valley, but in other parts of the state? This question is directed to Datuk Teng. And to Datuk Azmi American, MD of SIMW, as a private developer and a GLC at that, do you think private developers are doing enough to assist to overcome this problem? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Teng, would you take it first? And then we'll move on to Dr. Sri Azmi.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Well, I would say that although I don't have the numbers, I think PKNS has done more than enough. And sometimes I complain in a board meeting that I think we've done too much of a so-called CSR or providing low-cost house. And in fact, when I was in the government, I always advocate, although it has not been successful, I advocate an idea that it is not the government's duty to make sure that everyone owns a house. But it is a government duty to make sure that everyone has a place to stay. I think we have to change the mindset. You know, to me, is that it is wrong. It is not a duty at all for the government to make sure that everyone owns a house. In fact, if we force, those who have a low income to own a house,
it could backfire.
It could backfire because the net income, what we call the dispensable income, will be lower, and that will affect the quality of the life. So I think it would be better, for example, the state government, the Selangor state government has done is that we provide a house for rent. So that will, I think, will be more practical and pragmatic way of making sure that everyone will have roof over their heads. This is my answer to your questions. Thank you.
That is Sri?
Yeah, okay.
Just press up. Yeah.
Okay, it's a good question by Tan Sri Rahim. I'd say in two parts. I agree with absolutely with what Datuk Teng said. I think the problem we are facing is that we are focusing too much on the word affordable. We need to have a housing for everyone, not ownership for everyone. Every single Malaysian needs to be able to have a house, right? At some point in their career, they can afford a home. So these are two very different things that we need to appreciate. We have a home ownership percentage in Malaysia is 70%. That's a very high home ownership percentage, right? Now, the issue about affordable housing, I agree. And one of the things I forgot I wanted to share was in Malaysia, rent-to-own schemes, that I think is not very popular. This is something maybe we can afford to experiment with Datuk Mahmud, and even maybe Simon will be happy to see we do a home rent-to-home scheme, and you pay down, and some of your rental is used for your down payment, and then you can own the home. Something we can do. But I think, so that's number one, a solution. And my third point would be to say, for private developers, if you want to motivate us to go into affordable housing, and I agree that more can be done, there must be some reason why. Because today, for example, I give a very plain example. You ask Datuk Mahmud, we have one piece of land here. I can do housing projects, sell it, say, for example, 500,000. I make a 15% margin. Or I can do a 300,000 home that's also quite high and make a 10% margin. You ask any private developer, which one will you do? You have to pay dividends, you have to do CSR, you have to, service your debt. So this is a dilemma that we're facing. So what I'm saying is that I think we need to think of a way, and I think, this is an opportunity more than an issue. It's an opportunity that if somebody, say PKNS and SIM, were to do affordable development, we have to work on efficiency. The efficiency today, if we do an affordable home, cannot be the same efficiency. I'm talking about land efficiency for a normal project. That means today, as a master developer for townships, our land efficiency is 45%. For perhaps one of the things that we can look at, if we do affordable homes, that efficiency has to go higher. maybe 60%, then we can do it. So we have to have the tools and the levers to push and play around for you to motivate a private company to do affordable housing. But we need to do it. It's a problem that nobody wants to talk about, right? But can it be solved? Is it a very complex problem? It's not really a complex problem, but we need to get everybody to go around and find, okay, fine, for this one, let's make different rules because we want companies to be efficient. So it's a very good question. Never-ending topic, Tan Sri, from many years ago, but that's my attempt to add to that thing.
Is there anyone else? Any other questions? Yes, sir. Someone pass him a mic, please. Table in front, VIP 1, I think.
Hi, I'm KK from Property Insight. I would like to ask this question addressed to Dato Sri Azmir regarding horizontal development, especially for township developers like Samtabi and PKNS. So we know that just now you were sharing with us, land is we cannot manufacture land. And for township developers, which are not many in Malaysia, so this is if you were to focus too much on horizontal development, what would be the future plan for vertical development? And we know, for example, for Samdabi, in terms of industrial, this is my second question. Industrial and landed would be something that is, Samdabi are famous for. And for industrial especially, what would be the next phase, or what would be the next paradigm shift that needed because especially during the pandemic, there's a lot of great emergence of e-commerce company, but right now that's why there's a surge in terms of the demand for industrial units. So now with the e-commerce is slowing down, that hype might not be as great. So moving forward, what would be the element that can be added to industrial park? And so these are my two questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of questions there. Try my best to answer. So as a township developer, we don't just build horizontally. To answer your question, we build horizontally. We retain some land for recurring income. In fact, for industrial, we have a JV, for example, to build very large warehouses, for example, about 1 million square feet each, and we retain ownership. So for townships, generally, yes, it's landed development. You need a lot of land. Samdabi is in a unique position where we have land, but you must remember our land is not in city center so much lah. Our land is not in, say, in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. In the heart of Kuala Lumpur, if we have land, because of the economics, you have to build high-rise. For us, the cost of land today, is good enough for us to build, horizontally. But there will come a time when that is not possible. Today it's still possible, so we do it. But even now, we're saying that we need to have a recurring income plan. We want to retain portions of the land that later on, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we can redevelop, including industrial. We are leasing out industrial, which we will redevelop. So your second one is what can you do to attract more industrial development? I think today it's not just about the economic bubble, the COVID issue, and where e-commerce was a boom. I think my opinion, we have gone past it. We've seen consolidation. Yeah. So today you see real demand, and a lot of it is about regional activities, China, US issues, the issues that we are facing. Like we are attracting companies that will go to Vietnam, for example, or will go to Singapore. So I think you need to know where is their competition. And Selangor is very unique because, as Dato' Teng has been doing these roadshows for a long time, you should answer actually. Because of all the infrastructure. Our infrastructure is the one that makes it so convenient for companies to invest. Now, today you have two things happening. There's a boom in data centers. There's a boom in electronics and chips, right? What's driving the boom? Same thing that drove the boom for chips, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, is our price, is our electricity price and water. Same boom is driving data center booms. Do you need data centers? People always say, hey, data center, you employ 5 people. Actually, it's not true. And I take the opportunity to share a little bit of this because we employ engineers to service data centers, right? And maybe not a lot. But you have a team that monitors it 24/7, it works on shift. But you will need it because there's an issue of latency. Once you have AI, your data center needs to be close to population centers because the speed is very important. So Malaysia has is a boom now. This boom because we are producing data every day. I think that will happen. So I don't think it's a flash in the pan. It's going to end in 1 year or so. I don't think so. But it will evolve. Other countries will want it. They have no choice because evolution and how. See, artificial intelligence today, we call it artificial intelligence. It's not very intelligent yet. It's like computers in 1980s. So you imagine, in 30 years, how smart AI will be. And you need more processing power. So I think that's something that we are looking for our industrial segment. We're talking to large companies who can do this. I'm very positive. I think Malaysia is in a good position today, given regional issues. I think we should capitalize. We should drive. We should do trade missions like what Dato' Teng has been doing, and we will benefit a lot from what's happening around the world.
Basically, you're future-proofing the industry or your organization.
Can I add a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite interested in the questions of horizontal and vertical development. To add on what Dato' Sri has said, and now I can advocate openly. When I was government, I can't do it because it affects the policies. I think the state government and the federal government should have a policy that encourage vertical development and discourage horizontal development. Looking at our LRT and MRT, my prediction is it will be a failure. It can never make profit because we don't have the ridership. We don't have enough ridership to support it. And looking at some of the LRT stations, it is empty all the time because we don't have the population to support. We need the density of population support. And the only way to do it is, of course, we go for vertical development. But unfortunately, Malaysians, we love landed property. We want to stay in at least link house rather than apartments or condominium. But we have to have that mindset change. Otherwise, it would not be economical. It would not be actually efficient for us to actually encourage public transport and so on. And also that will not be able to, for us to maximize the profit or benefit from the land that we own. Although some may claim that we still have a lot of lands, but lands, as Dato' Sri said, you cannot produce land, you cannot manufacture land. So we have to think forward, this future-proofing. Do what others have done and not to repeat the mistake that people have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Teng. Do we have any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Is that a hand I see at the back? Yes, sir? That's the last question we'll take. There's the gentleman at the back with his hand raised.
Hello, thank you. Hi. Hello, I'm Eddie from Voice of Asia. So my question is actually directed at everyone, but particularly probably to Dato' Teng. I think while all of us here can agree that PKNS has done a great job in helping the development of Selangor, especially in the Klang Valley, I would like to know what do you think PKNS can and should do to enhance the development of Selangor outside the Klang Valley. I'm talking about places like Suburb Bernam, the northern sides, even outside the periphery of the Klang Valley itself. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, anyone?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that, in fact, PKNS has done more than other developers in developing the suburb or urban area. And when I was PKNS, I always asked, why do we spend money developing places like Antaragapi, where we have stocks that have not been sold for more than 20 years. And this is only one of the examples. But they have a duty, as I said, as a statutory body, they have a duty to the states, to the people. They are not only doing physical development, but also they have a social responsibility. And therefore, I said, if you look at accounts of PKNS, you'll find that a lot of properties stuck, for some years, are all those properties that they develop in the urban area. So in Suburbanam, I don't think there's much in Suburbanam, but in Ulu Selangor, in Ulu Langat, I think they have a lot of development and cattle for the needies, for those who are staying in the urban area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to close the forum. Can we give a big round of applause for our panelists today? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Wonderful discussion we had. And now I'm going to pass it over to our MC of the day.
Thank you, Dr. Beatrice. And that is all the time we have for Q&A today. I would like now to invite Yang Bahagia Dato Mahmud Abbas to please come up on stage to present a token of appreciation for our panelists and moderator. Gentlemen on stage and Dato Beatrice, could you kindly stand up, please? May I ask Dr. Afzal Nizam to step forward, please, to receive your token of appreciation from Dato Mahmud. Okay, could you kindly stand together for the photographs, please, gentlemen? A smile for the cameras. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Okay, now we have Dato Sri Azmir. Could you kindly step forward, please, sir? And a big smile for the cameras, please, gentlemen. That's great, wonderful. Thank you, sir. Now, Dato Teng, could you please step forward? Thank you very much. And smile for the cameras. Wonderful, great. Thank you so much. Now it's the turn of Dato Richard. Please, could you step forward, sir? Now we have Dato Lim. Could you please step forward, sir? And smile for the cameras. That's great, that's wonderful. And last but not least, we have our moderator, Dato Beatrice. Your turn, madam. Please step forward. And smiles for the cameras. That's great. Now, gentlemen and Dato Beatrice, may I ask that you all please stand together, side by side, for the group photo. So move forward in the stage. Thank you very much. And big smiles for the camera. Thank you very much, everybody. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Yang Bahagia, Dato Mahmud Abbas, and our distinguished panelists and moderator. Big round of applause, please. Now, as we reach the end of celebrating 60 years of PKNS, and the future is ours, we would like to end with a short video for you that will help you understand us a bit more. Just bear with us a second, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for joining us today. We have a lunch prepared for you, so everyone please join us. Bon appetit and selamat menjamu selera. Thank you very much.